In this video, we're going to discuss the common Ellipse Analytical configuration options. This will include primarily the SSIS production environment, where a lot of the configuration options are stored. We will then talk about disabling unrequired functionality. This includes the SSAS Load, disabling the CIO Refresh, disabling and re-enabling Ellipse bundles. We will then talk about changing the delta load type, either delta loads or the traditional loads, and changing from one to the other. Then we will talk about changing the connection information to Ellipse. This includes both the database connection and the EWS connection information. We will now discuss the SSIS production environment and disabling the SSAS Load and the CIO Refresh. We have opened the Integration Services catalog. In this, we'll have a list of environments. By default, we create an environment called Production, and in this, most of the configuration information is placed. We then open the variables. This is a list of all the variables that we use in the SSIS system. The SSAS Refresh is disabled by changing this variable to false. A value of false means the SSAS load will not occur, whereas true will mean the SSAS load is completed after the ETL processing has finished. To disable the CIO system, this variable, CIO enabled, will need to be set to false, or true if you wish this to occur. We will now discuss disabling and enabling Ellipse bundles. I have created a new query window in the DataMart database, and I have run this query, which will list the bundles and models and the enable state of each model. From this, you should be able to work out which bundles you wish to enable. You can see that currently the Materials Intelligence bundle is disabled on this system. Using this information, we can then disable the bundles that you do not want to load. This is done by opening a directory in the deployment folder. In this folder, we have a PowerShell script called Setup Bundle States. If this was to be opened, you will see a list of variables at the top. And you can see the Material Intelligence flag is set to 0, which is meaning do not load this bundle. If you wish to re-enable this bundle, all that would need to be done is to change this to 1. If you wanted to disable the Work Intelligence bundle, you would need to set this to 0. After doing this, save the file, and the next time the system is loaded, only the data required for the enabled bundles will be transferred and loaded into the SSAS system. If you do not need a bundle loaded, it will use additional resources in the SSAS model, and additional memory will be used. This can be fixed by clearing the existing data out of a bundle that is no longer being loaded. In the previous step, we disabled the Work Intelligence bundle. You can see that this has only one model. However, some other items, such as People Intelligence, will have 2 models. What needs to be done now is to go through each model in the bundle that was disabled and run a job on the model that will clear the data. This is done by connecting to the analyst services and running this process. If you run the process clear mode on the model, all of the data in this model will be deleted and the model will not use any more resources. Once this has been done, no data will be stored in the models we have just processed like this. This is all that needs to be done to enable and disable bundles on the system. We will now discuss changing the delta load types. I have the production environment open and I'm on the Variables tab. First thing to note is the flag that enables the delta load functionality. If this is set to false, the delta loads will not be loaded and full copies of the tables will be transferred from Ellipse into the DataMart. If this is set to true, then the delta load mode will be enabled. However, one important thing needs to be done. Every time this changes, you need to set the rebuild DB flag to true. This will rebuild the schema in the correct format. After one load has been run, you'll need to change this back to false, so normal processing will start. So the schema is not rebuilt each time, and this would effectively disable the delta load functionality. So in summary, whenever changing the isDeltaLoad flag, you need to do one run with rebuild to true, and then reset it to false after the first load has occurred. That is all that is needed to be done to change the delta load flag. We will now discuss changing the connection information to the Ellipse systems. I have the production environment open and on the Variables tab. One important thing to note is that this flag SQL source determines if the Ellipse database is MS SQL or Oracle. If an MS SQL database for Ellipse is being used, then this must be set to true, and this is the connection information that is required to connect to the Ellipse database. This is a standard OLEDB database connection. If this is set to false, then there are other settings that are used to communicate with the Oracle database. These are ConEllipse OLEDB. This is an OLEDB provider. ConEllipse Oracle. This is an OLEDB provider, but it is using the TNS names entry of the Oracle client. Then we have the ConEllipse password. This is the password for the Ellipse database. If required, you can check the sensitive flag to hide its value. Next, we have the Ellipse DB server name variable. This is the name of the TNS entry for the system, so it could be something like this. Next, we have the Ellipse DB user. This now completes the Oracle connection information. If the EWS server needs to be changed, these details here will need to be updated. These settings are only required if the Delta Load system is being used. This completes the Ellipse connection details in this part of the configuration. This completes the information that is contained in this video. If more information is required, there is a lot more information that is contained in the installation guide. Also, ABB consultants should be able to supply any additional information that is needed. Thank you.